What makes a good story to you?
Something that grabs you almost immediately, something that makes you think, makes you feel, more importantly, um, things that, if it has elements that you don't expect, it can surprise you, just take you through the gamut of emotions, laugh, cry, all of that. Um, that's what I think a good story is, something that really makes you feel.
I always ask people what their favorite movie was as a kid, but actually, maybe more in your 20s, when you were older, when you were sort of trying to figure out what you wanted.
Sure.
Was there a movie that you saw where you were like, oh, wow, this is really what I want to do?
Yeah, there have been a few. I have like the sort of my list of 5 that really impacted me, as I was growing up. I think from a young age, it was Batman Returns, because and I look back at that movie and I'm sort of amazed by it. It's so weird and subversive and like strangely violent for a kid's movie and like sexy, and it's one of those things, and the aesthetic that Tim Burton had was just like amazing, and it's something that like definitely seated deep inside of myself of like, this is what I like nowadays in films. The Matrix, when I saw that at 16, it absolutely blew my mind. It really made me rethink the world. And as a 16-year-old, like seeing that, it's just forever like altered me. Like the fact that that movie can alter you as a person and change your brain and change your trajectory in life, that is an immense power, and I'm so grateful for the Wachowskis like making that movie, because like who would I be if I hadn't seen that? Who knows? But V for Vendetta, another one of those films that I absolutely love and has great social commentary. The Kill Bills, Volume 1 and 2, definitely my favorite of Tarantino's. I spent so many years shooting films and like trying to mimic his style and his inserts and all of that stuff, just because they impacted me so much. And The Departed, I think, is tremendous. And it's an amazing example of a script that you read and you're like, okay, this is pretty good. And then you see the movie and you're like, whoa, like what happened? Because it's so different. And I read the script after I saw the movie and I was like, how did this script turn into that movie? And, after sort of hearing, how Scorsese talked about the process of it, you go like, oh wow, like there was so much improvisation and so much sort of on the fly. And that's why the editing is like so kinetic and interesting, and like how it's built the way it is because they were so improvisational. The actors wanted to do things and like, Martin just like went with it, and it still, came out with this cohesive, amazing story, which I think is just an absolute mastery. And then, yeah, Children of Men on that list. And I don't know if I mentioned it already, but In Bruges. In Bruges is it just hits me right in like the umami of a movie. You know what I mean? Like it hits me on such a deep level, just because of like the pain of the characters and the comedy in it, and the dialogue is just fantastic, and the action in it, and just everything. Like when you find movies that like speak to you, which is sort of rare, and it feels like it was kind of a part of you, like Whiplash is one of those movies where it's like, that's a movie where I'm like, it gets me mad because I was like, I wanted to tell that. I didn't know that that was inside of me, but it's so exciting that that movie exists, because it feels like a part of me. Yeah, those are the ones that really have sort of like impacted me and like set up what I love about film and the things that I try to strive for, and not to mimic them, but to sort of make things that are true to me that people in the future may look at and go, that movie sort of changed my life. Like that would be the highest compliment. Like I can give the Wachowskis for The Matrix for changing my life, if somebody, would say that about one of my films, like, there is no higher compliment than that.
If I'm understanding you correctly, then you were saying, because I think I felt this too, like seeing a movie and being so overtaken by it that you were upset that you didn't get to make it, because I have felt that too.
Yeah.
And it's not like an envy thing. It's just that this is so much, like, I get this movie. How could someone else get this too? Like, I get it. It's you almost can't put it into words.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And you're like speechless after the film, and you're sitting in the theater and you're like, can everyone just go? Because I just need a moment. This is like,
right.
And and then you see someone else is doing the same thing. You're like, wait a minute, this is really affecting people.
And it's that connection that you don't know that you're going to have when you set out to make a film, Like, the director couldn't have known that that movie was going to affect me the way it did. But that's the sort of like alchemy and magic of it, that it can do that. These stories, these movies can do that to people, and it's amazing.
And we've kind of had a running theme here in the last few weeks of filmmakers just saying briefly a movie they saw when they were probably too young to see it. Mm-hmm. Is there a fun example of that?
Yeah, totally. I think I was definitely in kindergarten, and I saw Friday the 13th, one of those. The one where he eats the cockroach. I remember that completely because I remember shutting my eyes and going like, but like, I was way too young to be seeing that. And then I think around the same time period was Terminator 2. That one should not have, seen that when he starts like, cutting the arm and like revealing the stuff. I was like, oh my God. And so violent, but so good. Like, the fact that you can watch a movie that good at a young age, even though you shouldn't be, is like, you should watch it because it's just that good, even though it's not appropriate.
Was that the babysitter that was playing it?
I know, it was friends. Okay. It was friends and parents who were away or whatever, like no babysitters. Like, let's put this VHS in and watch it.